It was the cold and concrete spaces of the Diefenbunker that inspired 2020 artist-in-residence Greta Grip to bring the warmth of knitting to its walls. This underground bunker, commissioned amid the anxiety and uncertainty of the Cold War years, was built to protect, preserve, and nurture the few who would carry on for the greater good in the event of a nuclear attack. Grip parallels the purpose and procedures of the Diefenbunker with those of knitting, something individuals do to contribute to wartime efforts and social causes, or to build community in difficult times. Both the bunker and the knitted items provide protection and comfort. Code is essential to the Diefenbunker, an operational communication center, and to the act of knitting. Both use code to create, embed, decipher, and communicate covert messages. Like the dots and dashes of Morse code and the zeros and ones that symbolize binary code used in digital computers, knitting relies on two basic states, knit stitch and purl stitch. Grip's work, which ranges from code messages, icons, and QR codes, all created by hand or using a hacked knitting machine, shows us how knitting itself weaves in and out of what can be read and what is hidden. This residency took place from January to September 2020, while much of the world sheltered in place, struggling to cope with and understand the coronavirus disease, COVID-19. Largely influenced by the realities of this period, Grip's work reflects on themes of containment, protection, health and safety, public messaging, community, and contribution, which are as evident today as they were during the Cold War. Greta Grip is well known for her textile works and is exhibited at the annex of the Ottawa Art Gallery, Saw Gallery, the Canadian Museum of Nature, and Wallspace Gallery in Ottawa, and, more widely, at the World of Threads Festival of Contemporary Fibre in Toronto and the Galerie de Nouvelle-Ontario in Sudbury. In her knitting practice, Grip is continually investigating different avenues of expression through works made in diverse sizes and materials. Since traditionally, knitted items have been seen as small, isolated piecemeal works, Grip exhibits an approach that opens up the concept of what can be knitted and on what scale. She plays within areas such as the slow movement, e-knitting, extreme knitting, intangibles, and wearables. Grip has even dreamt that she was once a giant knitting needle. Follow Greta Grip and her work at Greta_Grip on Instagram. During the First and Second World Wars, everyone was encouraged to knit for the troops. Those of all ages were urged to avoid idling and to participate, and so it was common to see people knitting. Knit your part means joining the effort. Today, during a pandemic, we're being asked to stay home, wear your mask, clean your hands. The message is the same: do your part. Containment is the act of keeping something under control or within limits. In the lead up to and during the Cold War, for example, US foreign policy was aimed at containing communism and keeping it from spreading. And in our current epidemic, we were and still are contained within our bubbles, as we keep to ourselves and keep ourselves protected. As for the Diefenbunker, it was built to contain people and to keep them safe, so that they would protect the country. The Bank of Canada Vault, now home to this exhibition, was built to protect our gold reserves for the future of generations to come. The 27 panels were made with a hacked knitting machine. The artist replaced the machine's brain with a USB port. Grip used code to knit code. The panels show an assortment of icons, words, and codes. The icons are stay home, no turning back, social distance, a mask, hands, and hand wash. The texts read, as if this matters, hindsight 2020, knit your art, reset pause, don't quit, do it, and never again. The single letters spell out "we don't know." These letters are hidden and may be difficult to determine. They themselves are part of the code. The codes are middle row far left. This panel has multiple horizontal black and white lines in 3 columns. Each knitted line represents a letter. For example, the letter A is knitted with only 1 line, the letter B is written with 2 lines, and so on. The panel spells out the message, how to keep doing what only made sense in the beginning. The second coded panel, bottom row far right, uses LED lights to flash out a Morse code message that is also transmitted through a ticking sound. It says, "Every decision is a risk. Every risk is a decision." This was the first message to be transmitted through Morse code in 1844. It's a question asked when we stop to wonder at something extraordinary. Here, Grip uses it as a nod to the history of Morse code and as a question about the consequences of nuclear warfare, which was the primary reason for building this Cold War bunker. In researching Morse code, Grip came to understand the importance of the conductor's rhythm in sending a message. Subtle differences in rhythm could result in very different messages being sent. The title above, for example, shows how one phrase can become a different phrase with the move, intentional or not, of just one T. In wartime, any such mix-up around arriving or leaving could jeopardize a war tactic. In the current pandemic, Grip considers how we reached this state and where we are going in our efforts to contain it. The situation appears to be constantly moving and changing. A knitted QR code is a code made from a code, which raises the question of reading an image. It might not be immediately apparent that these codes can be scanned or give information. To be able to read code, write code, and even create code has become the norm, at least in the knitting world. Knitting codes from codes is an ongoing theme for Grip. QR codes can be scanned to hear the 5 Morse code audio messages within the exhibition. 1. How to keep doing what only made sense in the beginning. 2. Every decision is a risk. Every risk is a decision. 3. What hath God wrought? 4. We got here. 5. We go there. Knitted gold bars and core samples from the Diefenbunker structure lie on the floor of the Bank of Canada vault. These remind us of the purpose of the vault. Though no gold was ever stored here, the vault represents the careful planning behind the Diefenbunker. The vertical black and white columns in the hallways of the Diefenbunker made a strong impression on Grip. Here, those columns are echoed in 2 pillars with a pattern of black and white stripes made from photos of small, hand-knitted black and white swatches that she scanned, enlarged, and repeated. She relates the pattern to razzle-dazzle. This was used in the First World War, and to a lesser extent the Second World War, to camouflage ships. It did not conceal the ship, but it made it difficult to estimate its size, speed, and direction. Again, we see another tie between knitting and espionage.